Hello, Shemai, and croeso, and welcome to the Fathers of Metal podcast with myself, Dadi Huw.
And myself, Papa Ben. Welcome once again. Glad to have you as well, Hugh. How's your day been?
Thanks a lot for having me. My day's been okay. We did our sort of bi-monthly or whatever monthly trip to Costco in Cardiff, which is the big warehouse where you can bulk buy stuff. So we get very excited. We can bulk buy fairy liquid and toilet paper because that's the height of excitement clearly in lockdown in South Wales.
I've been meaning to get a Costco's card myself, funnily enough, because you save the money that you spend on that Costco's card, you save in buying toilet roll alone, pretty much.
Probably just that. It's good. You know, I'm not sort of something I wouldn't normally support, but it just for a family situation, it is ideal. So went to the park as well with my little girl today. So I've been trying to teach her to share the swing and the type of stuff.
Yeah.
She'll say, my swing. So no, it's a swing for all the kids. But today it backfired because she was the only kid in the park because it was raining. So she was like, my swing. I guess you've got a point. It is your swing. No one else there. You can have a ride on anything you want and stay as long as you want. So how are your tribe, Papa Ben?
Yeah, we're okay. A lot less active than yours at the moment, I suppose, with Millie still being very young. But she's 1 on Friday, so but all good. Just kind of taking it every day as it comes. So nothing really major to report apart from it's all going well. She's nice and tucked up in bed asleep, so we get our evenings to ourselves, which is lovely.
That's good. I can hear you not whispering as much, so she's probably sleeping.
No, she's definitely asleep now. Yeah,
definitely.
And when she's out, she's one of those that we had some work done to the house a couple of months ago, and there was a guy in our house taking off render off a wall like this, and he was using like a pneumatic chipper to get it off. So it was really noisy. She fell asleep to it and stayed asleep to it. The noise of the pneumatic chipper, I think it's incredible.
It's constant noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just in case people are logging in now or signing in, listening in, thinking this is supposed to be about metal music. What the hell are these guys talking about? The kids. So just a reminder to those tuning in, we are METALIDADS. We're based all over Wales and we're slowly reaching other parts of the UK as well. Yes. And we're a community of fathers. We act as a paternal and well-being support network for each other, discuss all things metal through diplomatic means and absolutely ridiculous metal memes. So please follow our YouTube channel if you're here now, if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you'd like to join our little community or army of fathers as a group, you can join us on www.facebook.com/groups/METALIDAD. So to join the group, the only criteria you need to join the community is that you are a dad and that you are a follower of one of the many genres of metal. However, all are welcome to enjoy the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But Ben, even if you're a mum and you're interested, you can of course go to our community page. Isn't that right?
We have 2 community pages. We have our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/METALIDADS. That's all you've got to stick in, which you can like and follow that. And a lot of what is posted in the group regarding kind of the metal side of things gets posted on the page as well. The group is more designed for the conversations that maybe fathers want to have in more private, but we share similar amounts of anything like metal news or any cool things that I've personally find. I know yourself, we tend to go searching for cool metal things. Like today I stuck a little 15-minute video up of Tom Araya doing a fact or fiction thing, which was
he's just so friendly. Tom Araya
so nice, isn't he?
I'm not very familiar with a lot of interviews from many members or any members of that band, so I don't know what they're like as guys, but Tom just radiates just friendliness for a guy who's been spouting the most devilish lyrics known to man. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a real lovely guy, and he's got a great smile. You know, he's infectious. And they're the kind of things that will also get shared on our page. We also have Twitter, so if you go on twitter.com/METALIDADS, same thing again. We just share all metal content on there. We keep everyone up to date of when videos go up, and we try and get discussions started both on the obviously we get fathering discussions started even on the community pages, but we will also just general parenting discussions are kind of we will try and get going. Same on Twitter, where again, like I say, with the group, it's more father discussion based only, because that's what the support group is specifically designed for. But yeah, so we have and all the links to all of our pages and groups and all sorts will be in the description. So by all means, click them, follow, apply to join, whatever you want to do, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Absolutely. So what brings us here tonight? So Papa Ben, tonight's episode is more of an ad hoc reaction to metal news, whether it's the death of somebody, a band member parting ways with a band, an album release, or any type of controversy. We won't discuss Marilyn Manson yet. Maybe in the future, who knows, once things calm down. So Ben, tell our listeners, what are we discussing tonight? Why are we here tonight?
Okay, so this has actually got me quite excited. So Cannibal Corpse are due to release their 15th studio album in April, and while reading up on that, I also realized that they had their first single that is released in support of that upcoming album, which can happen to just come out today. So it came out, it's available on all streaming services, on YouTube and everything, and the album that's coming out in April is called Violence Unimagined, which is a great title. I got to be honest. I think it's a great concept. Anyway, and the single that is out today that we've had a good listen to,
a good thrash too.
Yes, definitely. It is called Inhumane Harvest. Yeah. I think we better make it clear now is myself and Huw, we're both metalheads. I'm definitely kind of thrash is kind of where my true love kind of, I love it all, but the thrash is definitely where it is. I'm very inexperienced when it comes to death metal myself, but doing this YouTube content and kind of content for the group and that, we've expended our listening habits to kind of all the ranges of metal as we go through the years and kind of study them, which means we've come across more and more death metal. And now that I've sat down and listened to like whole albums at a time rather than just one or two songs, me personally, I've really grown to appreciate the kind of the nuances that death metal brings to the table. And so I'm up until this point, I was able to tolerate it, but I didn't understand death metal, if that's the best way to describe it. Now I've got a real appreciation for it, and I genuinely enjoy it. And so for me, and I guess it's the same for you as well, Huw. My take on this single, Inhumane Harvest, is from a very, very fresh perspective. We've got no bias because we haven't heard loads of other bands, and we've got nothing to back up any previous biases. So we're coming in this very, very fresh.
Yeah, I'm in the same position as you, to be honest. Mainly from a singer's point of view, as I've always been into clean singing, as in that's what I practice as well. Yeah. Death metal, or a lot of metal where you aren't able to hear the lyrics, or it's a lot more the emotional screaming. If it's low end, high end, it's something I've never really enjoyed in metal music up until recently. So again, as you mentioned, we've been doing a lot more listening recently. We've been doing a separate podcast series called Rock Perspective, where we analyze albums that came out in a particular year. We've done 1990 and 1984 so far. 2001 we'll be doing in March, hopefully. Yeah. And so I've done a lot more listening because I've sort of almost like forced myself to listen to stuff, because just to do it for these programs, etc. Yeah. And they do say if you listen to something 9 times or try something 9 times, you'll eventually like it. So I think that's very much the case for me in death metal. I think I was in a hospital car park on the weekend. My wife was in the hospital and I wasn't allowed in because it's lockdown. And I sat in the car, put my chair back, and I listened for a separate program we're doing. I listened to a Converge album. Is it Converge?
Yes, Jane Doe.
So it was the Jane Doe album from 2001. And normally that music, I really would just listen to it for a few seconds, and I'd instantly turn it off. But it's the first time in my life I listened back. I listened to it like I was almost listening to a piece of music from Classic FM. Yeah. As in, it had this coolness and ability to relax me, which that type of music has never done. I know you can't compare Cannibal Corpse to Converge. They're tenuously linked, but not really at the same time. But yeah, so this track, I can easily say it is the first time I've ever listened to a death metal song and thought, I fucking love this song.
Yeah.
With, like, again, because it's absolute freshness.
Yeah.
So so you and me, we've got their different paths, but we're very similar in regards to how we've approached listening to this. And you were just mucking around with your Spotify right now, and we were listening to it at the same time. So in tandem, we were going like this. I noticed on the screen.
Yeah.
So Ben, do you want to maybe start us off? Maybe anything you got to say about the song? So it's about 4.5 minutes, isn't it, in length?
Yeah. 4 minutes 33 to be exact. And well, the first thing that I think that strikes me, as a lot of, I think it tends to be a trend with death metal, is the album artwork that comes with it. Is it's a thing of beauty. And I think what I'll do is, while we're currently talking, I will stick the album artwork kind of there. You'll see it kind of pop up pretty much where my finger is by there. And it is a thing of beauty, I have to say. Obviously I totally understand if people look at it and kind of, veer away and think, oh, what the hell is that? But it's beautiful in its own way.
It reminds me of my favorite of all time horror movie.
My favorite all time with an X then.
So again, no. It reminds me of my favorite horror movie, which I think it was either you or the friend Greg mentioned, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. My favorite horror films ever. And there are a couple of demon characters in this film that look exactly like the character on the cover of this single. So first thing I thought about when I looked at it, I thought, I'm going to like this. But like of course, an album of Cannibal Corpse we love, especially again the album cover, which is Eaten Back to Life from 1990. 1990, isn't it?
1990,
but a crazy album cover, and again staying within the nuances, I suppose, of death metal.
Yes, no, definitely, and I we're not going to talk about the album cover too much, because that's not the point of this. But what I would like to say is, it's very easy. I mean, death metal in its own way has got its own whole subset of genres, which you can go down a massive rabbit hole there. But the thing I like about generally with Cannibal Corpse is, they're a death metal band that don't put violent. The artwork isn't violent for the sake of being violent. There's like a measure to it. Some album artwork I've seen on some death metal bands it's just all out chaos. For the sake of chaos. Rather, this is measured, and it's beautiful in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Definitely.
But anyway, so moving on. So the song's about 4.5 minutes long, and doing the very, very, very brief research, just kind of having a look at what other people have said in the comments of this song coming out and that. There seems to be a return to the more old school thrashy Cannibal Corpse, probably something that's a bit more from their kind of 90s, their early 90s kind of backlog. And I you know what, listening to this song, I've heard it 3, 4, 5 times now. Straight away, as soon as it started, it very, very thrashy. It's very, very thrashy, and
the first thing
it hooks you straight away.
Yeah,
if you're into thrash, you probably will like this.
Yeah,
I would say straight away.
The intro reminded me of, even though the guitars would be, as in the Cannibal Corpse guitars are normally tuned a bit further down than these two bands I'm about to mention, but they reminded me very much of the type of riffage you expect from Creator and Testament. I had that vibe from just that intro, as in totally. And just the placing of where the notes were. So those again, that sort of, again, the word old school you've mentioned already did have that sort of old school thrash, but sort of on like more early 2000s thrash renaissance of bands like Creator, injecting more energy into it. But that's again, and it's tasty. The riffage in this all over the song is really tasty riffage.
And it's without sounding too kind of pretentious and that, the composition of this song is excellent. Compositionally it is excellent. We're not going to go super detailed into that, but again, it's just like I say, it hits you straight away with that real thrashy, real full of energy, but really precise and really like you say, really tasty riff. Just there's no pissing about. It's just it smashes you straight in the face with a hammer, and then it proceeds to kick you in the crotch for the rest of the song, basically.
Are you suggesting I now have a hammer smashed face by any chance? So I had to do that.
I got to be honest. I planted that in the hope that you would
cool. Thank you.
Would see that. So yes,
fish. You've gone pun fishing.
But yes, so it just hooks you straight away, and then the those vocals kick in, and the thing that I really like is I got to give it to George Corpse Grinder. He's hell of a vocalist. Again, he sits, I'd say, in that perfect sweet spot, or particularly in this song. Again, we're not super, we haven't listened to all the back catalogue, but in this particular song, he sits right in the pocket, exactly where he needs to be, and it's the perfect amount of guttural. It's not.
I agree, and again, vocally, as I already mentioned, that's where I sit in regards to being in a band, and that's normally where my first criticisms or what I enjoy. It normally comes from the vocals before drums, guitar, bass, or any other instrument, etc. Another one thing that's up until now put me off a lot of death metal, again because I'm more used to clean singing. I'm not normally a fan of what you call the Cookie Monster vocals, where it's just so deep. But he doesn't really do that in this track, as you notice. Again, as you say, he sort of sits, like walks the line where the amount of guttural feeling is there, but lyrically you can still understand. It almost becomes like when Chuck from Testament is at his heaviest. You can still make it, if that makes sense. It sort of makes out. You can still make out what he's saying as well. So I agree with you. I really like the line which he sits, definitely.
It's that kind of, it's death metal level of brutality. Again, you could use it in the same way to describe the album artworks. It's not like, it does exactly what it needs to do, and he does it incredibly well. Like he's very, very good. But it's not over the top for the sake of being over the top.
No, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And I appreciate if that's an artistic choice that some bands want to do and go super low, super heavy, guttural growls that you can't understand. And no matter, there's so many people out there who'll be like, oh yeah, I can understand what they're saying. They can't. No. They've studied those lyrics and have learned the song through that way. They have not picked up on those lyrics without doing that. I almost guarantee that.
Yeah.
This is a song that you could, after, like, as I've listened to it, the more I've listened to it, I'm picking up on the lyrics. I'm not one for lyrics anyway. I listen to vocals as an instrument, not as as lyrics. So lyrics are very powerful, and obviously there's some songs I love kind of singing or shouting out to, and that's great. But when I listen to a song, I'm not listening for the lyrics. I'm listening to the voice, not the lyrics, if you see what I mean. And that's where he absolutely nails it in this song. Super brutal, but literally, like you say, just walking that line. And then as the song goes on, this song evolves as it goes. It starts off, as we said, with that real, that thrashy hook. But it's that traditional old school death metal thrashy hook, and then as soon as the vocals kick in, it kind of turns more into like that kind of, it's more of a bouncing kind of groove. It's almost
like it halves the time, and it's as in it's like halves the time. Absolutely.
Again, it's slam on the face with a hammer over and over again,
exactly,
something. And it just works so well, I gotta say. So how about you anyway? With how did you find kind of, we've talked about kind of the beginning and the vocals and that. How did you find it as the song evolved?
Well, just looking at my notes here. So I'll two things really. I'm a massive fan of the sound engineering and the tone of the instruments and the balance of the instruments. So first of all,
everything is so precise. No muddiness in this.
No muddiness. Yeah, that's one thing. So the guitar tone in particular is brilliant. It reminded me of a little bit of Slayer's "God Hates Us All." There was a lot. I had that type of.
Definitely.
yeah, I had that sort of vibe with the guitar. I think the way there was either the chugging, the chug specifically, the palm muting on the guitar rather than the alternate picking, it reminded me a bit of the middle section of Bloodlines by what track it is on that album.
Track 8, I believe.
8, I know 7 or 8, I can't remember. But yeah, so the guitar line again. Sorry, yeah, the guitar tone I thought was fantastic. Again, I could hear, you could clearly with headphones on hear the bass doubling up the busier lines, the guitar lines when they got a lot busier. But then when they're almost like just chugging on, as in just like singular open notes, you can hear that treble Cliff Burton-esque or Pantera bass player type of twang on top. Along with the guitar line. So sound engineering wise, I thought it was crisp and you could hear everything. I think so.
Going back to that bass as well, you've definitely nailed that. There's, as we've kind of discovered, I mean, there's two ways of doing bass. We're both bass players, there's two ways of doing bass. You either sit in the pocket and you enhance everything that goes on around you, which is my personal preference. I don't care if people can hear what I'm doing. I'm putting big quotation marks there because there's always that whole thing of, I can't hear the bass, but as soon as you stop playing, people soon realize that actually there's something. And I'm happy sitting in that pocket getting on with things. Or you've got the more and good examples of that is someone like Dave Ellefson from Megadeth.
Absolutely
sits in that pocket absolutely perfectly, and clearly if he stops playing, the whole song just goes to shit. The whole thing goes to shit because he's keeping everything locked in and steady. And this is what this bass does. If you cut that bass out, the whole song would just be too much. It's keeping everything locked in. It's the, you'd almost, as much as the drum is the beat and that's the rhythm, you would almost say that the bass is the conductor keeping everybody in line.
It's adhesive, the musical adhesive.
It is definitely, and that's what I really appreciate. Like I say, as a bass player who likes to do that thing, I'm not bothered about solos. I'm not gonna, like, I don't, my tone whenever I'm in a band, I'm never like jacking up the treble in order to get super twangy so you can hear. Like, I'm not like a Fieldy type of guy. But again, Fieldy,
that dude from Mudvayne.
Ryan Martinez.
But
again, what they do is great, and it does exactly what they need to do in that band. But as I said, with this particular track, the bass work is perfect. It just sits there and it just keeps everything in line and keeps it all measured.
Absolutely, man. No, that's a good way to put it. So, go back to your question about as the song went on, what did I think? Now, I think you and me both agree, and we said this when we were giving it our first lesson because we were chatting to each other on Facebook Messenger. Yeah. But you get, just out of nowhere, you get this sort of high-end descending, going really low down, this almost like black metal style alternative picking riff, and it just leads into this Pantera style groove. Halfway through the song, and it's literally on the halfway mark. I looked on the track, and it was literally halfway, and you just got this incredible groove, this groove riff that pops in. And what's interesting is again, Cannibal Corpse, I'm coming at them completely fresh. I don't actually know what the guitar tuning in. I think it's C. I think so. I could be completely wrong. But the lowest note I thought I could hear was around the C sharp. I think it was C, around that end. But it was nice. It was nice that they chose, I don't know if you picked this out, but it's sort of like my flipping, what you call perfect pitch. But when they did that groove, they actually started, the groove was in the key of E. So a standard tuning riff, and all guitarists, no matter what tuning their band is in now, everyone knows what E sound like. It has almost like this beautiful familiarity, because that's normally when you first learn to tune a guitar, you get that E note. So to hear E come out of nowhere almost like excites me as well as as someone who finds keys and harmonies and bass quite interesting. So, and then it went lower and it went lower again. They changed the riff a bit, but they kept some similar bits. So that came out of nowhere. Cause E sort of catches my attention, especially when you're listening to music as heavy as this and normally as detuned as this. So that was, to me, sort of really caught my attention as well as the groove. So yeah, the middle section, which comes out of nowhere, just blew me away. It really did.
Yeah, it's excellent. The thing I like as well, they did it throughout the whole song, and it took first time I heard this song, I there was something there and I couldn't put my finger on it, but as I was going through the rhythm to it, the guitar on every so often, I couldn't possibly, it could be one every 16 bars or whatever it was, all of a sudden that dug type of riff that they were doing was purposely like being cut short, or I think it would start slightly late. There was something different about it.
I think it happened twice or three times max. They basically they almost took half a bar off, and it's just about noticeable. You think, oh, I like what you did there. You threw that in, or took that out, and think, oh.
Yeah, and it seemed to be, it seemed to, when they did that, when they cut that riff in, that particular bar in half, it seemed to my ears anyway, start on the dissonant. There was more of a dissonance to it as soon as it kicked. So again, and that's what's really nice, because these grooves, they put you as the listener in the pocket. So you're grooving to this, you're kind of, you're synced in to what they are doing. And then every so often they hit you with that curveball and you're like, oh, and it pulls you out for a split second. You go, oh, what was that? And then immediately sucks you back in. And then all of a sudden, whoa, what was that again? It's perfect. And I love all those little things. And this is what I'm exploring now, finding out with death metal, is these little nuances. They're just so good. And
man, absolutely. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was something I wasn't really going to mention, because I don't think it was much of a big deal, but the way you sort of explained it, it sort of makes me appreciate it again even more. But it's stuff like that happens in jazz music as well. It's the stuff you wouldn't normally notice, because it can be very insignificant to some, but if it's done right, it's think, oh, I like what you did there. It's just really subtle, but again, it works. And it just goes to show how tightly they were all locked in to that riff and just that moment. So they were rhythmically, they were really, really tight.
Extremely.
Achieving that. In regards to what else I've got to say about the song, I've only got really another note. We've heard it about 4 times now. I think I listened to it twice in a row, just thinking this is amazing. There's a guitar solo in the song. Do you know if Cannibal Corpse are ones to do that reasonably regularly? It's a question for you if you're familiar with this at all, because I don't know the answer.
No, I'm trying.
Well, if anyone else listening knows the answer, tell me. Do Cannibal Corpse have guitar solos in some of their songs? Is it a minority of the thing? Is it just guitar sounds, twiddly bit, noodly bits? So if you can write in the comments, that'd be awesome. But
and that really stood out to me as well, because it was towards the end of the song. Yeah, it was after that intense groove. Then we went back into the tasty riff, as we'd like to maybe describe it as, and then as we get towards the end, it was like in the last third of the song. Yeah, all of a sudden, and again, it's the kind of solo I've definitely heard before. Yeah, it's not, but it's not like a thrashy type of thing. Maybe it's that kind of traditional old school, what do you call it, death metal kind of solo, where it really stands out. It's kind of a good like octave or two above the actual kind of tuning, and it really stands out, and it's very like sweepy, and it's again very, very good.
What it reminded me of, staying death metal, but again, a subgenre again, it really reminded me of sort of the early 2000s, late 90s, sort of the European like melodic death metal sound. So the 2 songs that sort of stick out to me is in the tone of the guitar during the solo, for example, remind me very much of Arch Enemy, specifically when Angelo was still in the band, like songs like We Will Rise and Nemesis. Again, not necessarily the solos they have, but they're the sort of palmuty, just sort of like the basic, just like licks they do here and there before a solo or before a key change or something. The guitar sound reminded me very much of like the European sort of, the more melodic death metal rather than the, if you want to say traditional death metal or the associated type of death metal, which
there was a lot of harmony in that solo.
Yes.
It wasn't just insane, super fast, like Kerry King thrashing.
No, it was controlled, wasn't it? It was controlled, and it was crafted. That's a word you like a lot. It's crafted. I like that.
Yeah, and that describes this whole song really. Just as I said, this song in general, it's an excellent. And I actually, coming at this from someone who's quite new to death metal, I would say if I wanted to get someone into death metal, this is the song I'd show them. If I knew they were into metal, if they had, I think you'd have to be somewhat into metal anyway, especially if they were thrash heads and they were like, they're really giving death metal a try. What would you recommend? I'd show them this immediately because I just think it's got enough hook for them.
Yeah.
And I think, they would definitely appreciate it, but anybody would appreciate it. But yeah, I think this is a great way. And that's not to say this song is soft by no means, but this is definitely accessible. It's a very accessible death metal song, which obviously I think we can both appreciate. But I think that could be quite understated in a way because, I mean, without going too deep into it, death metal has kind of got that kind of gatekeepery, elitist fan base. Some of the fan base, not everyone obviously, but there's there is a gatekeeperish type of subsection of that fan base. And they're very traditionalist and they very like elitist in their in the way they like things done and that, and so a song like this I wouldn't necessarily panders to that. This is very accessible.
It's like, people use like talk about drugs, but people use the term gateway drug. You could say this is almost like a gateway song. Does that make sense?
I'm going to listen to this in the car on the way to work. Like it's excellent, on the way to doing, which is the perfect song to get into like as a support work, turn up listening to Cannibal Corpse.
Go to sleep.
But yeah, no, I have to say, like I said, it's excellent. Based off this single alone, it's made me want to go and pre-order the album.
Man. No, honestly, I'm really looking forward to hearing the rest of the album now. I never thought I'd say that about. I'd say the term out loud. I'm really excited for the next Cannibal Corpse album. I never thought I'd ever say that out loud.
No,
like
exactly.
Just even 3 weeks ago, but I feel my listing has sort of really just expanded so much. I just want to mention a funny story to you before we finished. It's actually it links into a video I posted on the METALIDADS page I think earlier in the week about families using the same technology. So I got when I was about to listen to this track first tonight, I got it on Spotify web player on the computer. And I typed in Inhumane, I typed in Cannibal Corpse, and I looked all the way down, and the first thing I could see was the new single, Inhumane Harvest,
Yeah.
So the name of the track is, sorry, I forgot then. So I had it ready, and I was about to click the space bar, about to play it. Almost like you're restarting the song. Normally you click on it, but I wasn't thinking because I was doing something else. So I pressed space bar, and I thought, this is not what I was expecting. And I didn't realize, but on Google Nest, which we were listening to earlier, we had the Coco soundtrack. Coco is this Disney thing with amazing Hispanic, like Mexican music. So for a minute, I thought I got rickrolled because all I can hear was. I thought, are they going to go into a after this like Mexican trumpet sound? And realize there's something wrong here. There's something wrong about. That's what it is.
On that note, I now think we need to start a campaign for Cannibal Corpse to do a Mexican covers album.
Yes. Why not?
I just think that'd
on
be
the strength of this video alone, absolutely. Or my anecdotal story. You never know. I've made petitions have happened.
I've made almost similar mistakes before where I've gone to listen to like something very, very heavy. Not necessarily, it wasn't this song. It was something else. And on the app, both on your phone, on a computer, or on any app you listen to Spotify on, you've got the option of choosing what device to play it off.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And I was on my phone, so I wanted to. I think I was in the car just about to drive, and I went to hit it. I was still connected to my Wi-Fi, and my Amazon Echo is connected to that, which is connected to my hi-fi, which is a very big, very powerful, very loud thing. And I went to hit it, and again, it was something very, very heavy. And as I did, I was like, "Why can't I hear where's this?" And then I was like, "What's that noise?" And then I put my window down, and from my house,
you could see the windows rattle.
I was like, "Oh, quick!" I don't think anyone was in at the time, which was good. But yeah, I was like, "Oh God, turn that off quick!" Yeah. Just so.
I think this is going to be a thing going forward in the future as a problem. METALIDADS face is trying to have own time to listen to their own music, which not necessarily their wife or children might not like, and then accidentally them hearing it by accident because people are logged into the wrong device. It's going to happen again. It'll happen to me again. Again, I told you I was trying to run up some hills yesterday to I think it was it Toxicity or Iowa? It was Iowa, and I was just getting to the top of a hill. I really needed another Slipknot groove just to get me over the hill. And what came on again? Moana. So I thought, kill the vibe. I can't do this hill. I'm just going to walk home. So it just killed it.
Was it that You're Welcome song by any chance?
No, it was. What was it? No, it was the third song in. So the first main song with his actual lots of people singing Moana, make way, make way, Moana's time. You class. It's a great song, you know. I like my Disney. I like all music. I like my Disney musicals as well. As my girl loves it. But yeah, I think this will it'll happen more often. So that's probably a good place to finish, I think. So Papa Ben. So to all our listeners, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much for your company as ever. And remember, no matter the podcast topic, whether it's whammy bars or weaning, napalm death or nappies, it's always good to talk, isn't it, Papa Ben?
It is very much indeed. Thank you to Hugh for joining us once again. Thank you to everyone who hopefully will watch this and enjoy this. This actually went a bit longer than I expected, but you know, it's all relevant in its own way, so it's all good. But yeah, so something's popping up on computer. Great, there we go. Yes, anyway, so it's been lovely once again. I'm looking forward to doing this again, and I think we need to do this for when the album comes out for sure.
Absolutely. I'm gonna put in my diary right away. I'm really
16th
really
I thought I'd mention the album's out 16th of April.
16th of April.
16th of April, yeah. So, and that's Violence Unimagined. So anyway, yes, from me, have a good rest of your day if you listen to this in the morning, the evening, whatever it is. We shall see you very soon. So it's a goodbye from me.
Yeah, and no star from me. So catch us for our next reaction videos on the podcast, Fathers of Metal. Cheers.
Bye.